Hello, everyone. Good morning. So, most of you know that Revolution Analytics was acquired by Microsoft recently. So I've been less than 3 weeks as a Microsoft employee. And we were very happy to be able to be here at this conference and to promise to support the conference as Revolution. And then we were even happier to actually be able to cut the check as Microsoft. So, so I want to dwell on this a little bit. There's a tremendous amount of enthusiasm at Microsoft now for open source and for R. Now, who would have believed that, just a few years ago? But this is a time when things can get done. And in fact, we're just in a planning cycle right now of what can Microsoft do to help further the work that Revolution was doing to support the open source community. So I'm looking for feedback. So, think about it. What could we do that would fill this room 10 years from now, to help fill this room 10 years from now with enthusiastic young people and give them the opportunities to have the same level of excitement in the R community. So I'm joseph.rickert at revolutionanalytics.com. It's going to work for a while, or at RevoJoe on Twitter. Let me know what you think. I'd really appreciate that. So today I'm going to talk about a little problem that we tackled at Revolution regarding reproducible research. So, what we want to do is make sure that if you have the same data, the same environment, you get the same results. If you recognize yourself in this cartoon here from XKCD about reproducibility, there is still time to seek help, and but that's all right. So this was a serious kind of breakdown in reproducibility. Perhaps you remember this, the scandal at Duke University, where an Excel spreadsheet error combined with feet dragging in the researchers actually providing the data that was asked for led to some bad results with the clinical trials being undertaken for drugs that were on genes that were not the correct genes. It was ugly. The statisticians turned out to be the heroes because of their dogged forensics in figuring out what happened. So this is the serious side of reproducibility, but everybody saw Hillary's talk yesterday, so I think I might replace this slide with just something like less work. So we had why you're worried about reproducibility, save time, save effort. Now, with regards to R, a couple of observations are that, geez, for the most part, R works really well. The R language is rock solid, the way it's developed. There's only a couple of releases, one major release a year, usually. The ecosystem for R in terms of things like literate programming, thanks to RStudio, has just over the past couple of years been tremendous amount of development there. And they deserve a big round of applause every time for the work that they continue to do there and the leadership and imagination. But packages are the weak spot. And there's over 6,000 packages right now on CRAN. And that's only the tip of the iceberg because of the way packages are written. They refer to other packages. They have, sometimes the nesting goes really pretty deep. And you might not know what you're getting involved in if for the first time somebody hands you some packages or a script and you've never seen some of these things before. It might not be really obvious, and it's probably not going to be the first thing on your list to go check out what's available. And that might lead you into this kind of problem. So you're on one end or the other of this kind of exchange. It's difficult for you. So You wrote some scripts, you're going to give them to a colleague. It wasn't just so long ago, everything worked fine, and now your colleague, she can't get it working, and she has no clue as to what she's going to do to debug your scripts. And it might be because you've got some sort of mismatch between the version of R and the packages that you're using, or the package has been updated. So we set out to try to just tackle that little problem. And what we've been working on is something we call a reproducibility toolkit. And what that is there's a static CRAN mirror, there's daily snapshots, and I'll explain some of this as we go on here. But the highlight and what I want to focus on today is this R package called checkpoint. So I'll come back to this is kind of the environment for checkpoint. I'll come back to that in a minute. But here's checkpoint. So it's a package. It's on CRAN. And to use it, after you install it, you just have to have at the beginning of your script this, the library statement, and you give it a date. Any date you want. And that's it. That's easy. And in light of Hillary's talk yesterday, maybe it's even Etsy easy, but optionally, you can also put the version of R that you want to talk about in there. So what we have here is, from the package author's point of view, you use versions available, as of a chosen date. So you've written some script, it worked on that date with versions of R that were available on CRAN at that date, and it installs into a local project. So this is project friendly, and RStudio friendly. So if you work in RStudio, they have the concept of a project. You want to keep things straight. You could have different versions of packages for different projects. From the collaborator side, somebody gives you a script. All you have to do is run checkpoint, and it's going to install whatever you need automatically. And here's the idea. So this is a script, the beginnings of a script that ran this quite interesting weather analysis. It's on the Revolutions blog, so you can go get that code and run it yourself. And you see what we're doing here is just calling for checkpoint as of that date and specifying that it's R 3.1.2. And then these are different packages that are installed in the script. And these packages are, as you may know, they're heavy in the sense that they call lots of other packages. And this is what it looks like. The details are not important here. But when you run that the first time, what it's doing is building a local directory in your project, and it's putting all those versions of packages, and it's going down the list. So here's RCPP. DBI, what does that do? Package BH, dplyr, all these things. You don't have to worry about doing that yourself or looking through the scripts. It's done for you. So just an endless thing of package installs. So the major idea here is to work within a project, and you can create a master script that just has those 2 lines of code. And don't use install directly. Just let checkpoint. So you put the library in there, and you let checkpoint do the work for you. So it's going to install all those packages. And from the other side, from sharing, you just share your script or your folder. And what you have to make sure is that they have the compatible version of R, because especially if you specify that in the checkpoint command. But then what they do is they run the checkpoint package. It comes with this thing called RRO. I'll tell you what that is in a minute. But that's not important here. You just run checkpoint, and checkpoint will take care of the binaries, making sure you have the correct versions, and the dependencies. So it's not the whole reproducibility problem at all by any means, but it's one little thing that goes from being annoying to could be disastrous if you're on a timeline and you don't have time to sort out all the details here. And the way it works is it scans through everything. Builds this file in your directory, and it skips packages that are installed already, so it's meant to be pretty efficient. It works pretty efficiently. And graphically, it looks something like this. So I'm going to back up. I blew through something too quickly here. Let me see if I can back up. I want to so I wanted to show you here that as part of the reproducibility toolkit and this CRAN mirror, it actually saves snapshots. So we're saving all the snapshots as of September 2014. So if you could just show so here you see it. There's just daily snapshots of all of these packages, and we put that in the cloud, and we're going to continue to do that as long as the funding holds up. So let's. So there's the mirror part, and with the snapshots. The technology underneath it is stuff that you're probably very familiar with, simple things, rsync to mirror CRAN daily, and the packages are stored as with ZFS as incremental snapshots. They're organized into a hierarchy, labeled hierarchy, and it's hosted on something called MRAN, which I'll show you later. MRAN stands for Managed R Archive. Now, right now, this checkpoint package only works with CRAN packages. So this is like, these are challenges and work for the future. And we'd be very interested in your ideas. So we'd like to be able to have it work with GitHub packages. There's probably a way using the install command with GitHub to replicate the same kind of functionality with GitHub packages as with CRAN. So we have a way to move forward. There might be a better way, but at least we think that'll work. With Bioconductor, we're kind of clueless. It's a lot harder than we thought it's going to be. So Bioconductor, any Bioconductor people here? Yeah, so it's difficult, the way they have their own package loading and management system, and it's not obvious what to do next. So we're looking. So this is an open source project. We're looking for help to see what might be done there. And then the corporations have an interest in having private repositories. But we have another package called Mini-CRAN, which is on CRAN. It's very useful in helping you to build your own little repository. So that's the beginning of a solution for that. And why use checkpoint? This is kind of a summary of what I've been saying. I'm particularly like this one, because I get a lot of requests from people who want to use packages that are no longer available on CRAN. That's one weakness kind of maybe the R package system is that there's no graceful way for packages to die. So, like someday you wake up and you look and it says this package has been removed from CRAN, and you go, what? What, you didn't ask me? What's going on here? So at least as far back as September, now you can have a project that's isolated, behind your own little firewall, and you're using just those antiquated packages that got pulled for some reason or another. You can do that. So you can have multiple multiple projects with different versions of things going on. A question we always get is, what about Pakrat? Well, yeah, Pakrat's great. What if you were going to think of, you wanted some sort of package management system, that would be probably Pakrat. It's very flexible. It does a lot of stuff. But too much stuff for the problem that we're solving. We want something that's really simple where you can't do anything wrong. And Pakrat enables you to mix versions of packages and what have you, and that's not the problem we're solving. So if you, by all means, if you have something that looks like a Pakrat kind of a case, go for it. But for something where what you want to enforce is maybe draconian simplicity, you want to use checkpoint. Now, so I talked about Revolution R open. So what we've done here as kind of a framework to support checkpoint and other things that we hope to be able to do is offer another distribution of open source R. So we call it Revolution R open. It's available from this site called MRAN, and we'll go to that in a minute. What it is, it's open source R that has been recompiled with the Intel Math Kernel Library, so you get a little better performance bump for anything with some linear algebra underneath. It's just, open source. It's available for these operating systems right now. We hope to be able to, with our new home, we hope to be able to extend the number of operating systems that we can include there. It includes checkpoint. It was, again, I mentioned, it's designed to be RStudio friendly, so we're expecting that you're going to use whatever the kind of environment. And it allows for side-by-side installations. And where do you get it? You get it from MRAN. So if you would look, let's just go to the MRAN site, please. So this is, I encourage you to poke around on this site, and you can see what we're trying to do. This is where you go to download Revolution R open. But we have other, we won't do this now, but just let me point around. We have a section on packages where you can look up packages in a nice tabular format and see what's, which of them have vignettes. And it's a little bit easier to use on the CRAN site, so you can do some exploring there. There's a community part where we've indicated some resources that might be interesting for people who are getting started with R. There's, of course, the download part. And this is the place where we manage the server that's backing checkpoint. And it's all through this site here, MRAN. So what the way Revolution R open works is that we select for you some date when you install it that fixes a date in the recent past, what versions of packages you're working with. So right now, I think we're talking about March 1st, 2015. So when you install it, you get the snapshot from that date. If that's not new enough for you, then use checkpoint to get the packages from today's date. But this is kind of your baseline. So that's where we know where we started from. And every time there's a release of Revolution R open, we move the date forward a little bit. So the idea is you're safe. This is your baseline date. And enterprises seem to like that. It's not the bleeding edge level of packages. It's something that's been out there for at least a little while. And I just a little bit more on MRAN. So please have a look at that. And that's it. So I've left time for questions, and
we have one question, so we did hit 0. So if you have anything, now's the time. Yes, not sorry.
Oh no.
But it's more fun if he embarrasses him now.
Does it work with our Hadoop? Can I use it to install packages on my Hadoop cluster instead of managing them separately?
I don't know that it doesn't, but I haven't done it myself. So that's the answer. I don't know. So you have a lot of problems with that. You know, as far as I know, we don't have any way to easily distribute stuff around the cluster. So as you know, there's a lot of practical problems there. But yeah, put that in the list.
So Vinny, aren't you glad you asked it now?
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.